The Sky Method. Chapter 3, Parts 3, Progress Record of Sky Method Development. This is an explanation of a money-saving wastewater treatment method being developed by the Green Ninja Group in the Philippines. This video will document the development record from its inception in 2018 to the current proposal. This is mainly to explain how the hanging sponge was created. For more information on the use of pumice and coconut fiber, please see the Sky Method Chapter 3 Parts 2 video. Please watch the Sky Method Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3 Parts 1 and 2 video if you haven't seen it yet. Its web address is in the description field. Look at the records of small-scale experiments. For the past 12 years, I have seen the business of wastewater treatment materials and equipment brought in from Japan, Korea, and Germany fail in the Philippines. The main reason for the failure was that these materials were too expensive to be used in the Philippines and other subtropical countries. The processing methods and equipment considered for the left side of the background photo will not work for the area on the right side of the photo. So I began to develop a wastewater treatment method that people in the Philippines and other subtropical countries could afford and maintain. I will now describe the record. This is the origin of my idea for a wastewater treatment method that does not use a lot of power or cost a lot of money. A supporter of mine was purifying a tilapia fish tank by simply passing the aerated water through pumice stones. So I did this experiment. The sewage used for the experiment was collected from a septic tank. It is a mixture of wastewater from laundry, dishwashing with heavy oil stains, etc. I continued this experiment for about 2 months, but the result was a failure. The water on the left is sewage. In the center is water that has been passed through pumice for 2 days. On the right is tap water for reference. The water becomes clean. However, the treatment time of 2 days is not practical. This is where I realized that I need active aeration. But I don't want to use a blower that uses a lot of power. Aeration is the action of bringing air and water into close contact in order to dissolve oxygen into the water. The water and air should be in contact. Using a blower to blow air into the water is not a necessary action. So what if we showered the water and let it touch the air? But water drips at high speed, so the time for the water to touch the air is short. Then make something hold the water. Expose that something to the air. What should I put the water in? What's the familiar, inexpensive, and easy to process that we have around us? It was a sponge. I wonder how I can do it? Begin trial and error. From right to left in the picture. I have tried hanging sponges of various shapes. All failed. The watery sponge gradually slid down. So I attached the sponge to a plastic mesh. But the net couldn't bear the weight of the water in the sponge. After a week, the mesh fell off. So we decided to use a plastic lattice net with a thick grid like this one. This is a combination of a lattice net and sponge made in this way. Next, we hung a bag of pumice stone under the sponge. This seemed to speed up the growth of the microorganisms living in the sponge. Upper part of the sponge has turned black due to the growth of microorganisms. Bottom of the sponge, 3 days after installation. No microorganisms have grown yet. Below the sponge is a bag of pumice stone. Sky Method's hanging sponge was created through such trial and error. This is a record of trial and error. This is the original sketch I made right after those experiments. This basic flow diagram was created based on the original sketches and experimental records. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please watch the Sky Method Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3 Parts 1 and 2 video if you haven't seen it yet. Its web address is in the description field.